Well, good evening. Thank you for hosting this. I appreciate that and for the forum to speak with you. My name is Trent Hatch. I'm running for District 6 in the EPISD School Board election coming up in May. Very excited about being here. I was born and raised in Mexico. Yo sí hablo español, suficiente para defenderme, right? So I grew up in Mexico, lived there for 17 years. I came to the promised land, the United States of America, to pursue a dream of becoming educated and to raise my children. I have 3 wonderful children, Caleb, Kelsey, and Kirsten, my wife, beautiful wife, Ann, and I have a great support group who's here with me tonight. But the reason why I am interested in running for school board is that over the last couple of years, I am tired of turning on my TV and seeing EPISD at the bottom. I believe that we deserve best. El Paso has a ton to offer. Wonderful people, wonderful weather, and intelligent people. And I believe that El Paso has unlimited potential for growth. Education, culturally, there's a lot that we can offer to this great country. I really believe that there's a lot we can do, and we as parents need to be involved. That is why I'm running. 3 of my children suffer from dyslexia. They're challenged with something that's really difficult. And so as I've been engaged with the schools, I know that we as parents have to be involved in our children's education. I want to treat my children. I want my children to receive opportunity, and that's why I'm running.
Welcome, Mr. Hatch. I'll be asking you the first question. Jacobs Engineering Group has recommended EPISD close and merge several schools. What do you know about facilities master plan, and what are your thoughts?
So I believe that every school district in El Paso should be evaluated. The Jacobs Committee is doing exactly that. They're evaluating not only EPISD but also Socorro. And we need a mark to where we need to be measured. And we need to know where we stand. We need to know where we stand with facilities. We need to understand where we stand with programs. I don't think any taxpayer really likes to pay money and throw money down the drain. I don't. And so I believe it's very important as the Jacobs study comes in, as they have done, give us an understanding of where we stand today. Now, is that gospel? No, I don't believe it's gospel. But I do believe that's a good starting point, and we need to take everything into consideration. Everything should be on the table today. Not just, hey, this and that.
Good evening, Mr. Hatch. My question to you is, what is your opinion of the Board of Managers? And if you could, please give an example of a specific action taken by the board that resonates with you.
So that's a great question. I've been heavily involved with the Board of Managers over the last 2 years. I had the opportunity to sit down with them regularly. Our students deserve facilities that work. Our students deserve facilities that will help them progress in their education and in extracurricular activities. I was heavily involved in the facility of Franklin High School. As you see, a wonderful facility where students can grow, can be pushed, can learn. I also was involved in getting this fundraising and establishing a scoreboard that every school in the district should have. There's no reason. There are schools outside of El Paso that have great assets, and we in El Paso should be no different. So my experience has been with the Board of Managers. They've worked hard, they've cooperated. I believe that there's more that we can do by being voted in as Board of Trustees. It's a great stepping stone.
Good evening, Mr. Hatch. EPISD is looking at merging Mesita and Vilas Elementary Schools, one school, one principal, 2 campuses. What is your opinion on this proposal?
So, not knowing all the facts and all the data, you read it in the news. You know, we saw it come out in the news. I can't tell you right now what I do exactly with those schools, but I do know one thing. Everything needs to be considered. We need to take a look at how this impacts the student, number one. What programs can be offered to improve the student's education? Number 3, what can we do to ensure that teachers are getting the support that they need? Teachers need support. They need their prep time back. They need their planning time back. And then also, how does this impact administration? It's really important to know how does this impact students, teachers, administration.
You have a 1 minute wrap.
1 minute wrap up. This is easy. This is the easy part, I guess. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I'm running, like I said earlier, because I have children. I have nieces and nephews that attend EPISD. I believe in our school district. I believe in our teachers. I believe in our students. I can ask you one question. How many people constantly hear the phrase, "I'm running because of the children," or the students? We all hear that. I'm not running because of the students and the children and that. I'm running for the future of our children. I'm not running what we can do today. I'm running so that we can make a difference in the future. It is so critical for our children to be competitive in the world that's out there today. Technology, programs, extracurriculars. We can compete, but we have to have the vision as people to get engaged and to make a difference and be involved in our children's education. That is why I'm running. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
And I think I can tell time. We got a red light there that will tell you. Good. I'm Tim Martin, and I'm running for School Board District 6. The reason I am who I am a little bit, I've been in this community for 15 years. I moved here with the Army. I was a recruiter for 8 years here in El Paso for the Texas Army National Guard. And while we were here, me and my wife have adopted 8 kids. And I have 2 biological kids. So we have 10 kids altogether, and all 10 of them have been in the EPISD schools in the District 6 schools where I live right now and where I'm running. The reason I'm running is because I want to be able to use the things I've learned in advocating for them. A number of them have special needs, and I want to advocate for them and for other parents that of special needs kids and the whole district, so that our kids get the free and appropriate education, public education that the federal law mandates. And that's who I am.
Welcome. I will be asking the first question, and it is, Jacobs Engineering Group has recommended EPISD close and merge several schools. What do you know about the facilities master plan, and what are your thoughts?
The schools that, some of the schools that need to be closed or that are on the list for closure are very old. I think that if repairing them is going to cost us more than to build new schools, then we need to build new schools. We need to close them. But we still also have to look at what are we going to do with the kids that are in those schools and make sure that they're getting the right amount or the best education for the money that we're spending.
My question is, what is your opinion of the Board of Managers, and give an example of a specific action taken by the board that resonates with you?
Can I ask you to clarify that a little? When you say the Board of Managers, you're talking about the board that is sitting right now?
Correct.
Okay. There's not, I mean, I know that they were appointed by the state. I know some of them by name. Not personally, but I know who they are in the community. There isn't necessarily one specific thing that resonates with me, except that they're still not really transparent. And that's one of the things that I want to see on the school board is more transparency of what money's coming into the district and where it's all going and how we're spending it.
Thank you.
Good evening. EPISD is looking at merging Mesita and Vilas elementary schools. 1 school, 1 principal, 2 campuses. What is your opinion on this proposal?
I think that as long as the transition is done in a correct way, it could be profitable. It would definitely probably save money, but there has to be a transition period. I've talked with a couple principals for Lincoln and Bond because they were talking about doing the same thing with them, and we talked about that. And if it's done correctly, where the younger kids are. Can I finish my thought? If the younger kids are transitioned in with the older kids, not just all of a sudden, hey, next year, boom, you're going to be together, it could be a good move.
You have a 1 minute wrap.
The reason I want to run, I want to be elected as a school board trustee is to fight for our kids. Like I said, I have a big family, not just for District 6. I want to fight for all children. I think that overall, our children are our future, and we need to make sure they're getting the best education for the money that we all spend in taxes. And I also want to be able to, one of the things that I want to bring to the board is integrity. I live my life with integrity, and I want to be transparent, and what I do on the board, I want to do with integrity. And that's all.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Alejandro Patino. Most people know me by Al. So when you go into the booth and need to differentiate between the candidates, just remember, Al Pacino, the actor, is running. Okay, get that straight. I am born here in El Paso, born and raised, but decided after graduation to go serve my country. I literally spent 25 years away from El Paso. I'm a retired Chief Warrant Officer for the United States Navy after 27 years of active and reserve time. I'm also a retired Supervisory Deputy United States Marshal, Federal Law Enforcement Agent, after 25 years of active service to them. I retired about 7 years ago. I've been teaching for the last 10 years as an adjunct professor at a number of schools here, El Paso Community College, UTEP, Doña Ana Community College, Excelsior, etc. More recently, I have become a security manager for a maquiladora in Ciudad Juárez. Why am I running? For me, it's a natural progression. It's the next step. Ever since I returned back to El Paso in 2001, I decided to start contributing to my community. Is that my minute? Thank you.
Mr. Patino, welcome. Your first question is for me. Jacobs Engineering Group has recommended EPISD close and merge several schools. What do you know about the facilities master plan, and what are your thoughts?
I know a great deal about the facilities master plan. As a matter of fact, I currently serve as a chair for the 2007 bond committee. Previously, I was on the 2003 bond committee. During those last 12 years that I participated on that bond committee, I have gotten very specific knowledge with regards to all this. The Jacobs study is something that we need to take serious. It's something that we've been deferring for a long time. One of the biggest things that's been proposed to us is deferred maintenance. It's a big issue. We need to address it, and we need to address it as soon as possible.
Good evening, sir. My question is, what is your opinion of the Board of Managers? And if you can, give an example of a specific action taken by the board that resonates with you.
The Board of Managers is what it is. Essentially, within our laws here in Texas, and we need to take that seriously as well, it was something that was implemented by the commissioner. For whatever reason, they decided to use us, this county, El Paso County, EPISD specifically, to go ahead and put in a Board of Managers. It is what it is. They did what they did. From my perspective, they did a lot of positive things, but it's time for us to return back to an elected Board of Trustees.
Good evening. EPISD is looking at merging Mesita and Vilas elementary schools. One school, one principal, two campuses. What are your thoughts on this proposal?
There's no question after being on the Bond Accountability Committee that it's very important for us to seriously take into consideration some of these recommendations. There's no question that we need to, again, make sure we engage with the community to get some input. But at the very end, somebody's going to have to make a decision. It may not be popular ones, but here, Mesita and Vilas, it's a situation where apparently the committee wants it. So from that perspective, I think it's a win-win situation there. But without having any more information, I cannot provide any additional opinion with regards to that. Okay, as I mentioned, I left here to serve my country. I served not only in a military capacity, but in a federal law enforcement agency to protect and defend not only the Constitution, but your rights as well. I am very proud of my civil service. I am very proud of my military service. Significantly, the reason I came back here, after I came back here, it's my obligation to contribute back to this community. It's not I've been advocating, I've been representing, and I've been recommending, not only to the board of managers, but the board of trustees. It's not what I can do for this district, it's what I will continue to do with 14 years already being invested in El Paso Independent School District. Thank you.
Good evening to everyone, and thank you all for sitting so nicely, politely. My name is Diane Flores, and let me just tell you what I do represent. Some of you that have an opportunity to see the flyers saw that my platform represents a new course of excellence, and that would be through being very transparent and by developing the trust of the community, because I know that's what you all are looking for. I am running for District 7, that would be the Coronado area. And just to let you know, I've been asked on several occasions, why did you decide to run for the board? And let me just tell you, I am a native El Pasoan. I did graduate from Coronado High School, so I know the structures. But one of the main things that I'm here to say is this. I went through the system here in El Paso, through Putnam and through Moorhead. And one of the things that I know for a fact is this, that an education is the #1 thing that we can count on as individuals. And I have my mom here, and one thing that she consistently said was this. She said, you can have everything in your life taken away. That can be money, your house, your home. The one thing that cannot be taken away is your education.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm going to ask you the first question. Jacobs Engineering Group has recommended EPISD close and merge several schools. What do you know about the facilities master plan, and what are your thoughts?
Well, one of the things that I do know, and I do know this because I am in education and have been for 23 years, is this. They are proposing closing 8 different schools. And I know that the current board, the board members that are there right now actually went on visits in order to be able to make some decisions. I know that they brought this organization, I said, to help support the recommendations of the closures. What I also do know is that there wasn't a lot of input that was gotten from the community. A lot of input was not gotten from the community. And so my thoughts are this on the closures. Whenever you're going to recommend anything on the closures, is that you have to have the community input, #1. I said, and then you have to have a plan. So if you're going to close schools, you have to be real transparent about what the plan is. So in knowing what I know about the closures, I said, I also know that there's got to be a very set plan when you propose to the community to gain their trust in knowing exactly what direction the school wants to take.
Good evening, Ms. Flores. My question to you is, what is your opinion of the Board of Managers, and can you give an example of a specific action taken by the board that resonates with you?
What I do know about the Board of Managers is that they were put in that position, I said, to gain back the trust of the community. They were put in that position. There is an issue that drives close to home, and I will tell you, I am in education, and so I know the specifics of some of these things. And one of them is that dual language program that they proposed. And what I do know about that dual language program that they're proposing is the same thing that I talked about, I said, in the closures. I don't know if there was necessarily a thought-out plan about how to implement something of this nature, because it's a great, great, great program if you do it right. And so one of the things that resonates with me is this. If I am elected to the board, I said I would ensure that there would be a thought-out process, I said, because those type of things not only implement the personnel and the teachers, and I said, but ultimately, I said, it's the kids of the district.
EPISD is looking at merging Mesita and Vilas elementary schools. 1 school, 1 principal, 2 campuses. What are your thoughts on this proposal?
Well, that goes back to the rationale that they gave behind combining those schools. The rationale behind combining those schools was that they were going to create a dual language campus. And so, while the thoughts are there about why it could be a success, my hesitation is this. I said, was there a thought-out process? Was there a way that they communicated this with the teachers that are currently there? I said, because ultimately that's what it's going to take to make this successful for the kids there. And to have, you know, a dual administrators too, I said, I'm going to tell you, I said, being a former administrator, that's tough. And I said, And you've got to provide the support, I said, to the administrators and the teachers in order for that to be a successful initiative for the district. Okay, final closing. I mentioned at the beginning, I said that it was critical to gain the trust, I said, of the community. I will tell you this. In my 23 years as an educator, I've held different positions, including campus administrator, an assistant principal, interim principal, and I've also been a district administrator. The advantage that I think I have is this. In electing a board member, you want someone that has the qualifications or the knowledge of the infrastructures in the school system. And I said, in both on how to make a campus successful and the things that go on in the district. Because the thing that I will bring to the table is this. I said, based on my knowledge, I have knowledge in educational budgeting, policies and procedures that relate to education, and the best instructional practices that have to occur, I said, within the classroom. Because number one impact, I said, for the kids here, the students in the district is this. The teachers in the classroom and the administrators that are there at the campuses also. They need the support and they need the resources that are appropriate so that we can make those decisions for those students and we can make these campuses and these schools, I said, the very best for our kids. So keeping in mind again, I hope that, I know there's a lot of great candidates. I just hope that with the knowledge that I have and I can bring to the table, those of you that are Coronado will select me.
Good evening. Thank you all for coming and putting up with all the politicians that are up here. My name is Michael Izquierdo. I'm a product of the El Paso School District. I went to Cooley Cottages, Moorhead, El Paso High, UTEP. I have a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering. I'm a professional licensed engineer. I have a master's degree in HR, and I have an MBA. So I have crazy kind of background. I like school, okay? What can I tell you? I've also taught at community college. And one of the things that's kind of funny about, I've been a school board member in the past, and we had a master over us. And we had to jump through a number of hoops that the state required to be able to cut loose and become an independent board. And that's the experience that I bring to this candidacy.
Good evening. I will ask you the first question. Jacobs Engineering Group has recommended EPISD close and merge several schools. What do you know about the facilities master plan, and what are your thoughts?
Okay, I have been, I downloaded the master plan. I looked at all the drawings. I'm trying to figure out how they came up with the logic of closing and opening the different schools. In talking to people, I found out that there was public that had input, and they discarded it. And I said, well, isn't there a minority report? There was none. None was created. So right now, I'm still trying to figure out how that report, you know, I know most consultants write a report to what the client wants, not what they need, but what they want. They ask them questions and then they give them a report that they are willing to pay for.
Can you talk louder, please?
Talk louder?
They can't hear you in the back.
All right.
That was a good one.
Good evening, Mr. Izquierdo. My question to you is, what is your opinion of the Board of Managers? And if you can, please give an example of a specific action taken by the board that resonates with you.
I don't believe the Board of Managers has taken the input of the community. The one thing I
Izquierdo, will you
did
speak up and speak this way?
that way.
Thank you.
All right, sorry.
Okay.
The one thing that I learned on the school board was that you have to include the community because your role is to be their conduit. You're the conduit for the parents, the students, the teachers, and the taxpayers. So you're out there trying to gather that information so that it can all be digested by the entire board as a body.
Thank you.
Good evening, sir. EPISD is looking at merging Mesita and Vilas elementary schools, one school, one principal, two campuses. What are your thoughts on this proposal?
Well, considering I used to live across the street from Vilas, and my brother went to Mesita, I'm familiar with the schools, their locations, and they are not 2 miles apart. They're closer to 4 miles apart. And I do not see that as a good combination. I think they can use both campuses to create a learning environment, but I'm not sure that what they're planning or what they just sprung on everybody, because as far as I know, there was no community input into that decision. One minute wrap. Okay. People say, why do we pay for education? Why do taxpayers? Why am I not paying for an education or property taxes to pay for schools? In 1836, Texas Letter of Independence was written. 18 grievances for white Texans who were declaring independence from Mexico. One of the grievances states, it has failed to establish any public system of public education, although possessed of almost boundless resources, the public domain. And although it is an axiom in political science that unless a people are educated and enlightened, it is idle to expect the continuance of civil liberty or the capacity for self-governance. When we look at the Constitution, it separated the various departments, and one of the departments is education. So the founding of the state looked at education. So education is a very important piece.
Okay, so good evening. My name is Muto, and I'm running for District 7 for the school board. I have many years of experience as an educator. I've been an educator all my life. 30 years, both as a student and as a teacher and as a director of an adult education program. I am currently the director of the community education program at Paso Community College. I also have a PhD in teaching, learning, and culture at Paso Community College. Personally, I have no interest associated with this. I do have interest, but I don't have personal interest associated with running for the school board. But I think that given my years of experience, I can make significant contributions, particularly in the areas of helping kids improve their academic achievement and the goal of succeeding educationally.
Welcome, and I will ask the first question. Jacobs Engineering Group has recommended EPISD close and merge several schools. What do you know about the facilities master plan, and what are your thoughts?
I'm just kidding. Sorry, that's my politician stance. My first question when we talk about closing schools and creating a large new school to accommodate all the kids is to ask, what is the pedagogical benefit to the kids? How will the kids benefit from being moved from their schools, their communities to larger school? And what is the evidence that this will benefit them academically? So if we look at things that benefit kids academically that we know of is small classrooms, schools where the parents, particularly where the parents get involved with the children's education, smaller schools, and more involvement from the teachers and the parents in the education of the kids. So when I look at the model of closing community schools to create a larger school and bustle the children far away, I begin to wonder, well, how is this consistent with smaller classrooms, with parents more involved with the schools, and with oh, wow, that was 3 minutes. 30 seconds. Oh, sorry. It's okay. But you got the gist of it.
Thank you, Mr. Muto. My question to you is, what is your opinion of the Board of Managers? And if you can, please give an example of a specific action taken by the board that resonates with you.
Well, right now they're considering, they have been pushing for closing some schools and creating and supporting a plan to create a school for a number of kids, and I don't necessarily support that idea. This idea of modernizing education by pushing all the kids to a school is not one that I support. And I think that that decision is to be left to a local school board rather than be taken by a group of people who are not necessarily from this community and not even chosen by the community itself.
EPISD is considering merging Vilas Elementary and Mesita Elementary schools. One school, one principal, two campuses. What are your thoughts on this proposal?
Well, you both had the same question. Why don't you just ask me what I thought about the merging, and I will have, I mean, and I have to answer the question to all of you. I disagree. I think that the schools should remain in their communities. I think that merging smaller schools to make a big school is a very bad idea. We need smaller schools with parents involved in the communities, but the parent leave rather than investing in a larger school. Just simply to save money. We need to look at the needs, the pedagogical needs of the kids first and decide how the kids are going to benefit from changes in the schools. All right, so, well, thank you so much for the questions. I think that the concern right now seems to be the school merger, and that question obviously came from two of the three people that were asking me questions indirectly. And I think it's a serious concern because the city is looking to save money, and they look at ways to save money, and they don't consider the needs of the students. And in an approach to what will benefit the kids, we need to look at models of pedagogical approaches that help the kids succeed, and not models of how to enrich developers and save money for the city. Thank you.